So now we will be continuing from wherever we have stopped. We were discussing the tax rates applicable for different categories of assessees or persons. There are two types of tax rates, normal tax rates and special tax rates. Before the break, we have covered all the normal tax rates applicable to different category of persons, guys. So now we will be starting with the special tax rates or the tax rates applicable for special income. So whatever we have covered here is there are totally 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 special income, but out of this, 3 are related to capital gains, guys. 3 are related to capital gains. Again, we will be covering those when we go to capital gains chapter. And the last one is related to, that is the last head of income, that is income from other sources. Income from other sources. So 4 special income we will be covering it here. 3 are related to capital gains and the last one is related to income from other sources. We call it as casual income. We call it as casual income. Okay. Now see, when it comes to capital gains, I'm just giving some information about capital gains. Whenever a capital asset is sold, we have to check whether it is a long-term asset or short-term asset. Sir, how to decide? There is some category with respect to period of holding, that is from the date of purchase till the date of sale, how many months you were holding that asset. We call it as period of holding. So whether the asset is a long term or short term depends on how long you held it before you sale. Clear? And there are different period of holding applicable for different categories of assets. That is, for some asset it is 12 months, for some few assets it is 24 months, and for last category of asset it is 36 months. So for which asset, which months, we will cover it in capital gains chapter. It is here, it is not relevant. Okay. Now whenever an asset is a long-term asset, whatever gains I get from that, we call it as long-term capital gain when I sell that asset. And whenever I am holding a short-term asset and if I sell it, whatever I earn is called short-term capital gain. Sir, is it mandatory to differentiate like this? Yes, because the tax rates applicable for long-term capital gain and short-term capital gain is different. Clear? So for that purpose, whenever an asset is sold, what we have to do? We have to check whether it is first long-term asset or short-term asset. On long-term asset, whatever I earn is called long-term capital gain, and on short-term capital asset, whatever I earn is called short-term capital gain. Clear? Yes, sir. So here, what asset is sold? That is important. Here, for tax purpose, which asset is sold? There are 3 special assets only for tax purpose. Only for tax purpose. That is equity shares of a company. Please listen, guys. Important. Equity shares of a company, unit of business trust or units of mutual fund. Equity oriented fund we call it as units of equity oriented fund. So if these 3, all these 3 are capital asset only. Okay. If you have sold these 3 assets, whatever capital gains you earn, check whether it is long term or short term. If it is long term also, it is treated as special income. If it is short term also, it is treated as special income, guys. I repeat, for tax purpose, we are treating 3 capital assets as special assets only for tax purpose. Which are those? Equity shares of a company, any company. Equity shares of a company. Okay. Next, units of equity oriented fund. What is unit of equity oriented fund? So it is related to mutual funds. Mutual fund is like this, guys. And now I don't have any idea about investing in shares. I don't know which company is good or bad. So in that case, what you can do is you can invest in mutual funds. So mutual fund is like an agent in between the investor and stock market. You will give your money to mutual fund and mutual fund will invest your money. Assume they are earning 10 rupees out of your income, whatever amount you have invested. Out of that, they will deduct their part. Assume they are deducting 3 rupees and they will give the remaining for you. That is 7 rupees. Clear? So it is like, okay, I don't have any information about the stock market. So I don't want to take a risk by directly investing it. I am giving my money or savings to an expert called mutual funds. So this mutual fund agencies will be handled by good managers, fund managers we call them. So I will give the money for them and they will invest it in the better way. In that case, when I am investing in my money in the mutual fund, I can decide where it has to be invested. whether in equity shares, whether in debt funds or any other bonds or anything like that. In that case, if I invest in the units of mutual fund which is specifically to be invested in equity shares of some other company, we call it as equity oriented units. I repeat, I'm investing in mutual fund, and in mutual fund there are different policies or there are different schemes. Now I am selecting a scheme where I invest the money in mutual fund and that money will be invested in the shares of the company. We call that whatever I am investing money na, we call it as unit of equity oriented fund, and it will be a capital asset for me. When I sell it in the future, it is capital gains for me. Okay. Last category of asset, that is unit of business trust. Even business trust is also like a middleman where I will give my money to this business trust and business trust will invest in real estate asset. Real estate asset, that is land or building. Clear? Yes, sir. So when you are investing in unit of equity oriented fund or unit of business trust or equity shares of a company directly, then whatever capital gains I get, first check whether it is a long term or short term. If it is long term capital gains, then it is taxed at 10%. But up to 1 lakh, it is not taxed. Only if it is more than 1 lakh, 10% tax rate. For example, please listen guys, all these are important. Now, I have earned a long-term capital gain of 1,50,000 by selling any of these three assets, equity shares or unit of equity oriented fund or anything like that. Okay. So what is the tax rate applicable? 10%. So on entire 1,50,000, no. Up to 1 lakh, it is not taxable. That means only 50,000 would be taxable at 10%. So please hold on your doubt. I have not yet completed. If you guys have any doubt, let me explain completely first. Then you guys can ask because still there are things to cover. Next, sir, what if these assets are short term? What if these assets are short term? Even in that case, it will be treated as special income and taxed at 15%. At 15%. Now let me repeat this. If the asset is sold, that is capital asset, if it is equity shares or unit of business trust or unit of equity oriented fund, we treat these assets as special assets. Whenever you sell that, you will earn capital gains. Okay. Check whatever asset you have sold, whether it is a long term or short term. If it is long term, then whatever gains you have earned, we call it as long term capital gains. And the tax rate applicable, and it is a special income, the tax rate applicable is 10%, but not on the entire income, only on the income in excess of 1 lakh. That means, if sir, what if I earned only 80,000? Nothing is taxed, long term capital gain. Clear? Okay, so now in the same scenario, what if these three assets are short term? We will earn short term capital gain. Is it a special income? Yes, it is a special income. What is the tax rate applicable? 15%, not 10%, 15%. 15% on the entire income. No exemption here. That means even if you have earned only 20,000 short term capital gain on the transfer of these three assets, entire 20,000 would be taxed at 15%, guys. Only for long term it is exempt up to 1 lakh, whereas for short term entire income is taxable at 15%. Hope this is clear for you. Okay, sir. This is for these three special assets. What about the other assets like land, building, even these are capital assets. If I have earned any capital gain, whether short term or long term, on any other asset except these three, what is the criteria? If it is a long term capital gain on any other asset except these three special assets, then still it is a special income. And what is the tax rate applicable? 20%. Tax rate applicable is 20% and no exemption on the entire income, 20%, guys. Okay. Sir, what if the income is short term capital gain? That is short term capital gain on the transfer of any asset except these three special assets like land, building or any other asset. In that case, it is taxed. It is not a special income. It is taxed at normal rate. That is whatever normal rate is applicable depending upon the category of person, the same rates will be applicable even on this short term capital gain. Clear? So here only three are special income. Okay. Whereas the other, that is the short term capital gain on any other asset is not a special income. It will be taxed at normal rate. Clear? Yes. Next. Next, Drishya. Sir, how can you check if it long term or short term? It depends on how long the asset you are holding before you sell. How long you are holding from the date of purchase till the date of sale. How long you are holding it. As of now, you don't worry. We will cover that point in the capital gains head. Next, Purvi, what is the need of special items? I mean, it can be included in normal income itself. See, these are the income which are not earned by the normal people who are doing investments and all. So that is why they are treating it as a special income which is taxed at special rates. Yeah. Sure. Next, last point I will come. Yeah, sure. Now, let me summarize these 3 points. I will just take the help of the revision material and help it. You need not worry. This I will again be covering it in revision class also. But here I can make it easy for you. Yeah, guys, listen. So any capital gains will be divided into 2 parts, whether it is a short term or long term. Sir, whether it is a long term capital gains or short term capital gains depends on what? The period of holding. And period of holding means from the date of purchase till the date of sale, how long I was holding the asset. Clear? Yes. And with respect to this period of holding, we will be covering it in capital gains chapter. Okay. Long-term capital gains. So whenever there is a long-term capital gains, we have to check it is on which asset anta. If it is on 3 assets, which are special assets for tax purpose, that is equity shares or unit of equity oriented fund or units of business trust. In short, we call it as EFT, guys. In short, so that you can easily remember, EFT, that is equity shares, equity oriented fund, fund for F, and T, trust, unit of business trust. Okay. In that case, which section is applicable? Section 112A. What is the tax rate applicable in that case? 10%, but not on the entire income, only in excess of 1 lakh. Now, let me take an example. Sir, I have earned a long-term capital gain of 2,50,000 on sale of equity shares. What is the tax rate applicable? Is it a special income? Yes, it is a special income. What is the tax rate applicable? 10%. But is it on entire 2,50,000? No. From 2,50,000 reduce 1 lakh, only remaining 1,50,000 would be taxable at 10%. Would be taxable at 10%. Okay? Yes, sir. Next, in the same scenario, sir, what if the asset is short term? What if the asset is short term? Then we will come here under short term capital gains. So if the asset sold is 3 special assets, then it is 111A. Section applicable, special section applicable is 111A. What is the tax rate? 15% on full amount. No exemption, nothing here. On the entire amount, 15% is the tax rate applicable. Let us just change the scenario now in my example. Assume I have earned 2,50,000 short-term capital gain on the sale of equity shares. What is the tax rate applicable? Is it a special income? Yes, it is a special income. What is the tax rate applicable? 15%. Where it is given? Section 111A. Clear? Both same scenario, guys, but different section, different rate. Different section, different rate. Clear? If it is a long-term capital gain, section 112A is applicable. Up to 1 lakh, nothing is taxable. In excess of 1 lakh, 10% is taxable. Okay. Same way, if the same asset, but the capital gains is short term, means 111A is applicable. What is the tax rate applicable in that case? 15% on the entire amount. No exemption, nothing there. Okay, so next scenario. But there is one condition here, that is STT should be paid. That is securities transaction tax has to be paid in both the cases. We will see that in our regular material. Chalo. Next coming to, sir, what if any other asset is sold? That is, these 3 assets we covered first. That is equity shares, unit of equity oriented fund or unit of business trust. Sir, what if any other asset is sold like land, building or anything else, debentures, preference shares or anything like that? In that case, if there is a long-term capital gains, then section 112 is applicable. Even that income is treated as special income and the tax rate applicable is 20%. 20%. Okay. Next, sir, what if in the same scenario, If it is short-term capital gains, that is short-term capital gain on the transfer of any other asset except the three asset. In that case, it is not a special income. No special section is applicable for that. In that case, it is taxable at normal rate. And what is normal rate? We have already discussed. Either flat or slab rate as applicable for the person. Hope you guys are understood now. So under capital gains, there are three special incomes, guys. That is long-term capital gain on EFT, 10% tax rate in excess of 1 lakh under section 112A. Then short-term capital gain on EFT under section 111A, 15% on the entire income. Then long-term capital gain on any other asset taxable at 20% under section 112. These three are special income which are covered under capital gains head. Hope you guys are clear now. And again, we will be covering, actually these three sections are covered in capital gains chapter, but just to cover all the tax rates in the same chapter, I have brought it in here also. Clear? Same section, again I would be covering in capital gains head also, guys. Clear? I wanted to bring all the tax rates in one chapter. That is why I have brought this special incomes also in this chapter only. Okay. Let me go through this. Then if there is any doubt, let me answer that once I finish this. Chalo, special incomes we are discussing now. First, 112. Long-term capital gains other than long-term capital gains taxable as per 112A. So first we will see what is 112A. That is important. Long-term capital gains on transfer of three assets. Which are those? In short, EFT. Easy to remember. Equity share of a company, unit of equity oriented fund, unit of business trust. So if any of these three assets you are holding, and if you sell that, and if you are earning long-term capital gains on that, then the tax rates applicable would be 10%. And where it is covered? Section 112A of which act? Income Tax Act. Okay, but there are some conditions. Conditions for availing the benefit of this concessional rate is securities transaction tax. In short, we call it as STT, guys. STT should have been paid. Okay, if the capital asset is equity shares, STT, that is securities transaction tax, has to be paid both while purchasing the shares as well as while selling the shares. Okay, next. Sir, what if the capital asset is unit of equity oriented fund or unit of business trust? Then securities transaction tax has to be paid at the time of transfer. And here transfer means sale, guys. Transfer means sale. So only if these conditions are satisfied, tax rate applicable would be 10% and section applicable is 112A. Sir, what if security transaction tax is not paid? Then 112A will not be applicable for you. You have to pay tax at 20%. 20%. Only when you have satisfied the condition given under section 112A, 112A will be applicable for you. Sir, what if you are not satisfied this STT condition? Then 112A will not be applicable for you. Straight away 112 would be applicable. Okay. Note. This note is important. They are telling long-term capital gain exceeding 1 lakh is taxable at 10%. That is whatever long-term capital gain which is covered under section 112A is there. Now, it is not taxed from rupee 1. It is taxed only if it is exceeding 1 lakh. Sir, what if I have earned only 80,000, 60,000, 50,000? No tax. You need not pay any tax there. You need not pay any tax. Now, you may have a doubt. Sir, what is the intention of this giving 1 lakh rupees benefit yours? See guys, this income whatever is covered under 112A was there. Na? It was completely exempt before. It was completely exempt before. There was one section called 1038. Any long-term capital gain on the transfer of these three assets was completely exempt before. Completely exempt. But what they did was, I guess in 2019 Finance Act, they removed this exemption. All of the sudden, stock market started falling. Because obviously this section, this exemption was the benefit given to the investors. So what happened when the government removed this exemption, especially the foreign institutional investors and all, they started getting their money back from Indian stock market, because they will no more be getting the exemption. Later they told, okay, we have taken the major benefit, we will give some benefit for them by way of section 112A. That is where section 112A was added, telling up to 1 lakh it is exempt anta. So obviously this benefit can be enjoyed by a small investor like you and me and all. Whereas for a large investor and all, again, it is tax liability, but they kept the tax rate at very less, that is 10%. Whereas for other long-term capital gain, it is 20%. Yeah, so previously it was completely exempt, that is 1038, whatever long-term capital gain you earn on these three assets, but now it is taxable, but only in excess of 1 lakh, guys. Okay. Sir, what if the long-term capital gain is on any other asset except these three assets? It is covered under section 112. That is long-term capital gains on the transfer of land, building, gold, or any other capital asset. In that case, the tax rate is 20% on the entire income. On the entire income. Okay. Next, 112 scenario, 12A scenario, same scenario copy pasted in 111A, but for short term. But for short term, that is, if there is any short term capital gain on the transfer of that three assets, special asset, EFT, then the tax rate applicable would be under section 111A, special income, how much? 15%, guys. But on the entire income, here no exemption. Here there is no exemption. Even if you are having only 40,000 capital gain, 20,000 capital gain, on the entire 40,000 or 20,000, you have to pay 15%. Yeah, we will just go through this 111A. Even this is considered as special income, guys. Short-term capital gain on transfer of equity share, unit of equity oriented fund, unit of business trust, conditions to be fulfilled. That is same securities transaction condition. The transaction of sale of such equity share or unit should be entered into on or after 1st October 2004, because this section was introduced during that time. Okay, means the whatever three assets are there, it is sold after 1st October 2004. Fine. Such transaction should be chargeable to securities transaction tax. As we have covered in this table, same condition, even it is applicable under section 111A. Sir, what if this condition is not satisfied, that is STT is not paid? In that case, short-term capital gain will be taxable at normal rate. 111A will not be applicable, so it will be taxable at normal rate. I have given a note. All other short-term capital gain is taxable at normal rate as applicable for the assessee. Clear? For example, short-term capital gain on the sale of land, building, gold, or any other capital asset. It is not a special income, so no separate section is applicable. So it is taxable at normal rate. It is taxable at normal rate, guys. Hope till here everything is clear. So these three are the special incomes which are covered in capital gains head, which are taxable at special rate, guys. Special rates. So please take care of that three special assets, where if it is long term also special income, short term also special income, which is taxable at special rate. Now open for questions. Same year, Purvi Chopra, whenever they removed 1038, immediately they added 112A. Sir, why paying 2 times STT in equity share? See, actually, whenever you buy, you can buy the equity shares only through your Demat account. And whenever you buy and sell the equity shares through your Demat account, automatically a securities transaction tax will be deducted. You need not pay it separately. It will be auto deducted. Whenever you buy also, you are supposed to pay securities transaction tax. Whenever you sell the equity shares also, you are supposed to pay securities transaction tax based on your turnover. Sir, what if I face loss? So in that case, obviously you need not pay tax. You will carry that loss to the next years, or you can adjust it against your other income. We will cover that. We have a separate chapter for loss. See, you will pay tax only when you have income. So we are not talking anything with respect to loss here. If you have loss, obviously we will not pay tax on that. We have some more adjustments with respect to that. That is, I can adjust it against other income, or else I can carry it to the next years. Geeta Lakshmi. Chalo, next Sushma. Sir, equity share in a company, andre equity futures options ella. Yes, because everything you can do for that only, no? Even if you're actually see what happened. If you are doing trading, it is not considered as capital gains income, it is considered as speculation business income. Means if you are doing intraday trading, if you are doing future options and all, it is not a capital gains income, whatever you are earning, it is actually considered as speculation income, which will come under business ed, that is PGBP. Yeah, any more doubt, guys? No, it's not straight away 30%. It depends on who is the assessee, who is earning it. If you are earning it, slab rate would be applicable, madam. If you are doing trading, but I don't suggest you as a student don't get involved in those times. Yeah. Sir, this special income tax rate is same for all. I mean, India, yeah. I told you, na, special incomes is same for everyone, no matter who is earning it. No matter who is earning it, whether it is earned by company, individual, partnership firm, it is fixed for everyone. It is not depending upon category of person. Tax to be paid. Yes, income tax will be paid in the assessment year on this capital gains income also. What is STT rate? See, 0.01% on the value of transaction in India. 0.01% on the transaction value. That is, for example, okay, let me give, this is somewhere related to investment, guys. Now assume I am purchasing 10 shares of Infosys. So let us take a round figure. It is valued at 2000 as on today. I am purchasing. So how much I have to pay? So what is the transaction value? 20,000. On this 20,000, I will end up paying 0.01% as STT, securities transaction tax, and it is also a government revenue, but it is not a part of income tax. Income tax is different. Securities transaction tax is different. Purvi, sir, on intraday also, yeah, securities transaction tax is charged. Whenever you buy and sell, it is charged and it is auto detected. It is auto detected. Yeah. So many people are interested. We will discuss about more about investment in shares, that this and all in coming days also. So anything else to ask, guys, before I proceed? This all three are special incomes which are taxable at special rates, which are covered under capital gains. And this three section, as I have told you, again I will cover it, guys. So you need not worry. Again I will cover it in which chapter? Capital gains head. Fine. I wanted to cover everything with respect to tax rates in one chapter. That is why I have included this also here. Next, Purvi. GST is also there on equity shares. No. Means for you as an investor, they don't charge you GST. Actually, for the brokers, they charge. For whatever services they give, they charge GST. Geeta Lakshmi, sir, a few words about speculation. See, speculation is covered under PGBP. We will be covering it there, but still, as you have asked, it is my duty to tell now small things about that. Speculation is that means whenever you buy and sell the shares by taking an advantage of share price or fluctuation in share price. That is, you buy at low price and sell it at high price, or else you can also short it. You can also short it is that you can sell first and then buy it. We call it as short or selling, short selling. Okay. In that case, you are buying the sell shares and selling it on the same day. And that is considered whatever gain you have earned, we call it as speculation gain or speculation business income. It is covered under PGBP head and is taxable at normal rate. No special rates are applicable for that. But if you have suffered a loss due to the speculation nature, if you have suffered a loss, you cannot adjust that loss against any income. Any income, you can adjust that loss only against speculation business income. Means if you are suffered a loss due to intraday trading, that loss can be adjusted only when you earn the income from intraday trading. It is like that. Chalo. Fine. Chalo guys, one more special category of income. We call this as casual income. I went casually and I earned some income without putting any much efforts. We call it as casual income, which is again treated as special income, taxed at a special rate of 30%. So what is it? 115 BB. We call this as casual income. You can just make a note of that. Casual income. Winnings from lottery, crossword puzzle, races including horse race, card games and other games of any sort, or gambling, betting, anything. It is straight away taxed at 30%, guys. It is straight away taxed at 30%. We call it as casual income, and there are still many other points with respect to this. We will be covering it in income from other sources. Yeah, as of now, just worry about the tax rates, guys. Nothing much. Okay, sir, what is this? What is that? Everything, whatever is relevant till now, I have covered everything. You need not worry. Still, there are points. This is not the end. Still, there are some points which I have to mention and cover. We will be doing it in the respective head, guys. Yeah, because if I start talking about all those now, it will be very hectic for those, especially who are learning tax for the first time. So I don't want to go in detail now. Whatever is relevant for this chapter, I've covered it with respect to tax rates. Fine. Chalo. So hope these four are the special income which are taxable at special rates, guys. Next, rebate. Now some benefit is given to a resident individual. Resident individual only, not for any other category of person. If their total income is up to 5 lakh. If their total income is up to 5 lakh, they will get something called as rebate. Rebate is nothing but tax relief, guys. That is, see what government did was they made a smart move, telling that every people expected in 2 or 3 Finance Act before, every individuals or assessees were expecting that the basic exemption limit 2,50,000 is there, it will be extended to 5 lakh anta. Even government, it was just before their elections, 2019 election, they were also in the mood of increasing the basic exemption limit to 5 lakh. But later what they thought, we will lose the revenue, major revenue will be lost there, because major people are covered under that slab rate, guys, like you, me, whoever is earning the income. So we all normally will fall under that category. So if the government increase the basic exemption limit from 2,50,000 to 5 lakh, that benefit will be given for all the individuals, plus HUF, AOP, BOI, everyone it will be given. But the people who are earning, for example, I am an individual who is earning 20 lakh income, 30 lakh income, 15 lakh income. I have the ability to pay tax. Then why should I extend the benefit to you? That is what the government thought. So what they thought was, okay, whoever is falling between, means if your income is between 2,50,000 to 5 lakh, we will give benefit only for them. That is in the form of rebate. Means without extending the basic exemption limit to 5 lakh, what they did is, whoever's income is less than 5 lakh, they need not pay any tax. That is how this benefit was given through rebate, guys. Rebate. That means rebate is applicable only for resident individual whose total income is up to 5 lakh in the year. Sir, what if the total income is more than 5 lakh? No rebate is applicable for you. That is, you have to pay tax from 2,50,000. You have to pay tax from 2,50,000. So in simple, rebate is available only for resident individual whose total income is between 2,50,000 to 5 lakh. Even if it is 5 lakh 5,000, 5 lakh 1,000, no rebate is available for you. No rebate is available for you. So from where to where you have to pay tax? From 2,50,000 to whatever is your total income, you have to pay tax that much. Yeah. So this is helpful only for those people whose income is less than 5 lakh. We can call them as middle class people or whatever. Chalo. Rebate from income tax to a resident individual. This was given by section 87A. An assessee being a resident individual. So it is available only for resident individual whose total income does not exceed 5 lakh rupees. That means up to 5 lakh. If it is exactly 5 lakh also fine, but not more than 5 lakh. Shall be entitled to a deduction of amount equal to 100% of total tax or an amount of 12,500, whichever is less as rebate. Means it is locked up till 12,500. Means maximum rebate you can claim is 12,500, but not more than that. Not more than that. So actual tax liability are 12,500, whichever is lower. For example, let me take an example. Now assume my income is 3,50,000, guys, total income, which is only normal income, no special income, nothing. So what is your tax liability? Up to 2,50,000 nil, 2,50,000 to 3,50,000, 5%. So 1 lakh is taxed at 5%. So how much is that? 5,000. So your tax liability is how much? 5,000. How much rebate you will get? Only 5,000. Only 5,000. So you will not pay any tax to the government. Next scenario. Sir, my tax total income is 4,50,000, which is completely normal income. So how much tax I need to pay to the government? Up to 2,50,000 nil. 2,50,000 to 4,50,000, which comes to 2 lakh. The difference between upper limit and lower limit, 2 lakh, which is taxed at 5%. How much is that? 10,000. Now, can I claim the rebate under section 87A? Yes. How much? 10,000. Full 10,000. So how much tax I need to pay to the government? Zero. But one more important thing, guys, here, because a lot of confusions were there when this rebate was announced. Sir, what in these two cases? Should I pay any tax to the government? Definitely not. But should I file the returns? Yes. If your income is more than basic exemption limit, but even if you are not paying any tax, still you have to file your returns. But sir, my tax liability is zero, na? Yes. But even though your tax liability is zero, file your returns and prove it. Clear? Yes, sir. Next, and see what happened is when this was announced by BJP government, the present BJP government, before 2019 election, when Nirmala Sitharaman was reading this point, she told any individual who is having income up to 5 lakh need not pay tax anta. She didn't mention anything more about this. So all the news channels started publishing that. So up to 5 lakh it is basic exemption limit. Up to 5 lakh it is basic exemption limit also. But only when we read that bill, that is finance bill, we got to know no, basic exemption limit is not increased to 5 lakh, but basic exemption limit is 2,50,000 only. But they have introduced something called as rebate, which is available only if your income is less than 5 lakh. Sir, what if I am a resident individual? If my income is more than 5 lakh, then rebate is not at all available for you. Rebate is not at all available for you. Okay, let me take a next scenario. Assume my income is 5,50,000, which is completely normal income. How much tax I need to pay to the government? Up to 2,50,000 nil. 2,50,000 to 5 lakh, 5%, which comes to 12,500. Okay. Then 5 lakh to 5,50,000, 20%. Second slab. Second slab, that is 5 lakh to 10 lakh. But here, as my income itself is 5,50,000, we will stop it there, 20%. So on 50,000, 20%, which comes to 10,000. Okay. So now total is 22,500. So should I pay tax? Am I eligible for rebate? No, I am not eligible for rebate. I need to pay tax to the government. Clear? So for this, we have to add something called as health and education cess, which we have yet to cover, and then pay the final figure to the government. Hope you guys understood when rebate is available, when rebate is not available. Now, what is the 12,500, sir? Why they have kept the limit? Let us understand. See, now, I have 4,50,000 income. Now, there are two here. Special income, normal income. Okay. Special income is 1 lakh. 1 lakh, that is long-term capital gain under section 112, guys, which is taxable at 20%, which is taxable at 20%. That is long-term capital gain on the transfer of any other asset except EFT. Okay. Normal income is 3,50,000, which is taxed at slab rate. We are talking about individual because rebate is available only for individual. Okay. Now, how do we calculate the tax liability? First, on special income, 1 lakh into 20%. Under section 112, no exemption. Straight away, full amount is taxable, guys. So 1 lakh into 20%, how much? 20,000. Okay. Plus on normal income, 3,50,000 up to 2,50,000, it is nil. Okay. Then 2,50,000 to 3,50,000, 5%. So on 1 lakh, 5%, how much? 5,000. How much your tax liability is coming to? 25,000. Now, am I eligible for rebate? Yes, sir. Why? Because your total income is less than 5 lakh or up to 5 lakh. In that case, am I eligible for rebate? Yes, but maximum 12,500. So here, even though my tax liability is 25,000, I cannot claim full. So you can claim a maximum rebate of 12,500. So remaining 12,500 you have to pay to the government, including health and education cess of 4%. Including health and education cess of Clear? Yes. We have some more points with respect to rebate. We will just cover that. So maximum rebate available is 12,500. Once asked in the exam, what is the maximum amount of rebate available to resident individual under section 87A? Options they will give 2,500, 10,000, 12,500, none of the above. So your answer should be maximum is 12,500, guys. But what if your tax liability itself is less than 12,500? In that case, only that much, which is in my first two example. My tax liability itself was less than 12,500. Now, in that case, how much I will claim? Only 5,000, means whatever is your tax liability. That is 5,000 in first case and 10,000 in second case. Yeah. Next, Punita. But this case is same as why they have misunderstood, right, sir? I mean media. Yeah. That is why they misunderstood. They thought that the basic exemption limit is increased to 5 lakh. That is how they started publishing also. Immediately after the budget session, they started publishing that the basic good news for Indian residents, individuals having salary income, that this and all. The basic exemption limit has been extended to 5 lakh, that this and all. But it was not the scenario. Chalo. Yeah. So when rebate under section 87A was applicable is, two conditions has to be satisfied. That is resident individual plus the total income of that individual should be up to 5 lakh. And total income including special income if any. Including special income if any. If there is. Okay. Some notes. The rebate shall be equal to the amount of income tax payable on the total income for any assessment year or the amount of 12,500, whichever is less. Means the maximum rebate available is 12,500, guys. Keep it simple. Okay. B. Consequently, any individual having total income up to be required to pay any tax, 5 lakh will not be required to pay any tax. That means if you are having total income, if you are a resident individual, up to 5 lakh, you need not pay any tax. Hope you got that point. Someone asked the doubt in the morning or in this evening class. So if your total income and if you are a resident individual if your total income is up to 5 lakh, you have to file the returns provided your income is more than 2 lakh 50, but you need not pay any tax to the government. It is like that. That too, it is a normal income. If it is special income and all, then your tax liability might be more than 12,500. So in that case, calculate your tax liability, claim maximum rebate of 12,500, remaining tax you have to pay to the government. Next, C, this important point. Rebate under section 87A is, however, not available in respect of tax payable at 10% on long-term capital gains taxable under section 112A. That means whatever long-term capital gains on the transfer of 3 EFT under section 112A, at 10% is there, on that rebate is not available. Even though you are a resident individual, still rebate is not available against the tax payable under section 112A. Let me understand with an example. Now, let us take the same example. Sir, it is not 112. Let us take it as 112A. 112A. What is the tax rate? 10%. But is it entirely on 1 lakh? No, because only in excess of 1 lakh. Let us just change this scenario. Let us make it as 1,20,000 and this as 3,30,000. Okay. Now, so there is a special income of long-term capital gain on the transfer of EFT. How much? 1,20,000. Where is it a special income? Yes. Where it is taxable? Under section 112A. At what rate? 10%, but in excess of 1 lakh. So here what is the amount of tax? 20,000 only is taxable at 10%. So 2,000. Hope you guys are clear with this. 2,000. Now can I claim rebate against this 2,000? Not available. Okay. Now let us see what is the tax amount applicable on normal income. So normal income is 3,30,000, but up to 2,50,000 basic exemption limit. So that means how much is taxable? 5% is applicable only on 80,000. That is 3,30,000 minus 2,50,000, guys. Minus 2,50,000. Hope you guys are able to get the figures whatever I am deriving. If any doubt, please do ask. I repeat, your normal income is 3,30,000. Up to 2,50,000 nothing is taxable. From 2,50,000 to 3,30,000, 5% is the tax rate. So the difference between the upper limit and lower limit is 80,000. So 80,000, that is 3,30,000 minus 2,50,000 is taxable at 5%. So 4,000. So what is your tax liability? 6,000. How much am I eligible for rebate? Yes, because your total income is 4,50,000. Am I eligible for rebate? Yes, sir. But can I claim full 6,000 as rebate? No, sir. This you cannot claim. So what is the maximum rebate you can claim in this case? Only 4,000. So rebate under section 87A is only 4,000 because rebate under section 87A is not available for the tax payable under section 112A. Hope you guys are clear with this. Now, so 2,000 is your tax liability. For this, health and education says 4% will be added and you have to pay whatever amount you get. Fine. One more example let me take, guys. One more example. Because as the 1 lakh exemption has been given to this long-term capital gain, that is why they have kept rebate benefit withhold on this 112A tax. Now assume I am a resident individual who have 4,50,000 income and entire income is a long-term capital gain. Long-term capital gain on what? The EFT transaction, that is equity shares or equity oriented fund or anything like that. Okay, which section is applicable? 112A. My profession itself is investing and earning from that. No other income I have. So entire income is long-term capital gain. Okay. So first let us calculate the tax liability. So it is taxable under section 112A at 10%, but not entire amount. So up to 1 lakh it is exempt. So how much is taxable? Only 3,50,000. So 3,50,000 into 10%, 35,000. Now, can I claim rebate against this? No rebate, sir. No rebate. So straight away you have to add 4% health and education cess on this and you have to pay to the government. Clear? In simple, rebate under section 87A is not available for the tax payable under section 112A on long-term capital gain on the transfer of EFT. Clear? Yes. Hope you guys are clear with this. Next, Purvi Chopra. Sir, tax liability will be zero only always if there is no special income in case of rebate. It is not exactly like that, because if by chance, if it is within the limit and if you're, for example, this example I gave now, long-term capital gain, previously I covered long-term capital gain. Okay, so here 25,000. Sir, what if it was only, assume, okay, let me take one example altogether, different example, so that it won't be confusing for you. Normally, yes, whatever you asked, sir, normally, if total income does not include any special income, yes, up to 5 lakh for a resident individual, nothing is taxable. But in few cases only, in certain exception cases, even if it's not, means even if your total income includes special income, still you may end up paying no taxes. So what is that example? Let me take. Assume your total income is 4,50,000, guys. 4,50,000. Okay, or else let me make it as 3,50,000. 3,50,000 is your total income. In this special income under section 112A is only 50,000. Is only 50,000. Remaining is normal income, which is 3 lakh, which is taxed at slab rate. Okay, fine. Now special income 112, sorry, not 112A, let me make it as 112. 112. So it is taxable at 20%. Fine. So what is the tax liability of 10,000? 10,000. Okay. Next, coming to normal income, up to 2,50,000 it is exempt. From 2,50,000 to 3 lakh, 5%. So what is the difference? 50,000. That is 3 lakh minus 2,50,000. So on 50,000, 5%. How much is that? 2,500. So what is your tax liability now? 12,500. Can I claim rebate fully under section 87A? Yes, of course. Full rebate you claim, you will end up paying no taxes to the government. This is just an example. Clear? Some rare cases like this, even in that case, even if your total income includes some special income, you may end up paying no taxes to the government. Yeah. Yes. But normal people who are having only like salary income or house property income and all, they need not pay any tax if their total income is up to 5 lakh, provided they don't have any special income. But in some special cases, even if your total income includes special income, still you may end up paying no taxes. One example I have given. Next, Drushya. So watch Drushya 2. Fine. Sir, what is the doubt? Sir, so stockbrokers come under 112A. No, stockbrokers, we also come under 112A also. Because assume I have purchased the shares of Infosys company. I sold it after the long term. For shares and all, it is 12 months. So I sold it after 12 months. So it is a long-term capital gain for me. I will be covered under 112A. I will be covered under 112A. Drushya. No, so basically, is there a regular activity, right? Yeah, means for example, sir, if the broker itself is buying and selling the shares, it will be a business income for them. It is not a capital gains because the shares and all is a stock for them. So no question of special income in that scenario. It will be a business income for them. Yeah. Anyway, good point. Chalo. Geeta Lakshmi, sir, explain that last case. Where is it? Yeah. Yeah, here it is. See, my total income is 3,50,000, madam. Okay, which includes special income under section 112, which is taxable at 20%. How much? 50,000. So the remaining income is your normal income, which is 3 lakh. Okay. Now let us calculate the tax liability. Special income under section 112, not 12A, 12 is 50,000. So 50,000 into 20%, 10,000. Okay. Normal income, how much? 3 lakh. So slab rate is applicable up to 2,50,000 nil, 2,50,000 to 3 lakh 5%. So 50,000 into 5%, 2,500. So what is your tax liability? 12,500. Am I eligible for rebate? Yes. Why? Because your total income is less than 5 lakh. Can I claim the rebate? Yes. How much? Entire 12,500. So in this case, the tax you pay to the government is 0. Clear, madam? Chalo, we will do one basic problem. Come to the question, guys. We have some more things. We will discuss it in the tomorrow's class. We will do some problems. Come to the problem. Question number 1. Geeta Lakshmi, madam, clear? Kavana. Sir, is the rebate is applicable for short-term capital gain? Yes. Restriction is only on long-term capital gain, that too taxable under 112A. So for other special incomes, it is available. For other special income, it is available, madam. Geeta Lakshmi, sir, capital gains doesn't get rebate. That is only for 112A capital gains, madam. Whereas for 111A capital gains and 112 capital gains tax, rebate is available. Even for 115BB casual income tax, even for that rebate is available. So please be very clear, only 112A capital gains tax rebate is not available, guys. Sir, Priya, if tax liability is 0, should he pay tax? No. Should he pay cess? No. Only when you have positive tax liability, you will end up paying cess. If your tax liability itself is 0, in that case, no cess is applicable. Yeah, and health and education cess will be applicable in all the cases wherever you are paying tax to the government, guys. If your tax liability itself is 0, then health and education cess would not be applicable. Chalo, come to the first question. Mr. X, a resident, please open your notebook, has a total income of 4,50,000. Okay, see, look at the clue given in the question. Mr. X, who is the individual and is the resident, and his total income is 4,50,000. Can you get some point there? They are giving some hint there. That is, Mr. X is available or eligible for a rebate, guys. He is eligible for a rebate. Okay. Comprising of his salary income and interest on FD. That means there is no special income in this 4,50,000, guys. Yeah. So 4,50,000 does not include any special income. So straight away slab rates are applicable. So full 4,50,000 is normal income. So we have to compute is tax liability. So age is not given. What we have to assume? I have told you, if age is not given, always assume less than 60. So please take some notes. I will just tell you guys. Please take notes. Give the heading, the name of the tax chapter, tax rates. Please take whatever I am telling, whatever solutions we are doing, take down in your notebook, guys. Don't be lazy. Take down some notes quickly. Ready? First note. If age of the individual is not given, if age of the individual is not given in the question, if age of the individual is not given in the question, comma, then THEN, then assume it to be less than 60 years. Then assume it to be less than 60 years. 60 years. First note. Second note. Second note. If the residential status of assessee if the residential status of the assessee is not given in the question, comma, for any assessee, guys, for any assessee, assume as resident, assume as resident. Clear? Yeah. First question. Let us solve the first question. So whenever age is not given, we will assume it less than 60. So up to 2,50,000, nothing is taxable because it is basic exemption limit. Then from 2,50,000 to 5,00,000, 5%. But here the total income itself is 4,50,000. So we have to stop it there. So from 2,50,000 to 4.5 lakh, it is, so here nil we will write, and here 5%. Tax rate applicable is 5%. So how do we work it? 4,50,000, which is the upper limit, minus 2,50,000, which is the lower limit, into, you will get 2,00,000 into 5%, guys, which comes to 10,000. 10,000. See, here in the class and all, we will practice this format. But in the exam and all, you can directly do the working. By the time we complete our syllabus and all, you guys will be very thorough in tax calculation and all. So you need not do all the steps, but to make you understand, I am doing it step by step. So 10,000 tax, fine. So 10,000 will be your, we call this as gross tax liability. Now, check the eligibility for rebate. Am I eligible for rebate? Yes, sir. So rebate under section 87A is available for Mr. A. How much? 12,500 or actual tax liability, whichever is lower. So your actual tax liability itself is less than 12,500. So claim that much. Claim that much. So how much tax finally you will pay to the government? Nil or 0. But should I file the income tax return? Yes, you have to file. Who should file the income tax returns and all? There is a chapter called assessment procedure. We will be covering it there. But I'm just mentioning, if your income is more than basic exemption limit, even if you are eligible for rebate, but still you are supposed to file your returns, guys. You are supposed to file your returns. Take down quickly. Here no question of cess. Bhuvan or Bhuvan, whatever is it. So here no question of cess because your tax liability is nil. When your tax liability is nil, no need to add cess. We will do next question. There you will get. Sweetie, done, sir. Others done, guys? Yes, sir. Sure. Second question, we will keep it on hold. We will do it tomorrow. Come to third question, guys. Come to third one. Come to third question. Mr. C, so an individual, a 69-year-old resident. We see catch point wherever it is. Please make a note of it. So assessor is an individual, age is 69 years, and he is a resident. What is the basic essential limit applicable, guys? Quickly. Yeah, yes, everyone are correct. It is 3 lakh, guys. So this assessee is treated as senior citizen. So the basic exemption limit applicable would be 3 lakh. Very good. See, they're asking question on that also. They will give a scenario and ask what is the basic exemption limit applicable anta. Yeah, it is just a easy marks to score. So let us continue the question. Mr. C, a 69-year-old resident Indian, has disclosed a sum of 10 lakh 30,000 as taxable income. And taxable income is nothing but total income, guys. One and the same. The other name for total income is taxable income. From share trading business. Okay, it is a business income. No problem. Let it be any income. But it is a total income. He wants you to compute his tax liability for assessment year 22-23. So it is a normal income which is taxable at normal rate, guys. It is not a special income because it is a business income, but not capital gains. If it is a capital gains income, it will be a special income. But here, please be very careful. They have told it is an income from share trading business. Clear? Yes. So it is a normal income. Okay. So he wants you to compute his tax liability for assessment year 22-23. So there are 2 more sub questions which we will take care later. So his total income is how much? 10 lakh 30,000. So let us start. So basic essential limit is 3 lakh. Please take care of that. That is the key point here. So the tax rate up to that will be nil. So the amount is also nil. Next, from 3 lakh to 5 lakh, tax rate is 5%. So the difference between upper limit and lower limit. 5 lakh minus 3 lakh into 5%, which is equal to 2 lakh into 5%. 10,000. Okay, so then from 5 lakh to 10 lakh, what is the tax rate? 20%. Okay, that means upper limit minus lower limit. That is 10 lakh minus 5 lakh into 20%, which comes to 1 lakh. 1 lakh. That is 5 lakh into 20%, guys. Okay. More than 10 lakh, it is 30%. But how much is this income? Only 10 lakh 30,000. So compute accordingly. 10.3 minus 10 lakh into 30%, which is nothing but 30,000 into 30%. 30,000 into 30%. Hope you guys are able to understand how I am getting the figures. If any doubt, please do ask, which is 9,000. So 1,19,000, we call this as gross tax liability. Gross tax liability. We call this as gross tax liability. Next, please check whether rebate is available for this assessee. Is it available, guys? Is rebate available for this assessee? No, sir. Why? Because total income is more than 5 lakh. So no question of rebate. Then what is your tax liability now? 1,19,000. On that, whoever is paying tax, they have to pay health and education cess at 4%. And we calculate health and education cess on not on income but on tax figure. Please be careful. So health and education cess is calculated on tax figure, guys, not on income figure. So how much is that? 4760. 4760. So finally, I need to pay 1,23,760 to the government. So how much tax the assessee has to pay to the government? 1,23,760. Please take down quickly, guys. We have to go step by step. We have to check whether rebate is available or not. Then in all the scenarios, health and education cess will be applicable. In between this, there is something called a surcharge will be applicable, which we will learn in tomorrow morning class, guys. In this scenarios and all, surcharge is not available or applicable. When it is applicable and what is the rate, we will be doing it morning class, in the morning class. Done with this? Shall we go to the next scenario? Hello. Yes, sir. Chalo guys. Now, there is continuation of the question. Would your answer be different? First, the assessee is a non-resident. If the assessee is a non-resident, will your answer remain same? Guys, what is the basic essential limit if I am a non-resident? Come on. Yes, Sushma is telling same. Gunjan, Ganeshan, Nischay is telling 2.5 lakh. Pragya Singh 2 lakh 50,000. Ramanathan same. Guys, 3 lakh and 5 lakh of increased basic essential limit is available only for resident individuals. Sir, what if the individual is a non-resident but 60 or more or 80 or more? For them, the basic essential limit is 2 lakh 50 only. 2 lakh 50 only. So in this case, Mr. C is a 69 years old person, but he is a non-resident. In that case, basic exemption limit is 2 lakh 50 only. Guys, please be careful. I have underlined that. You can see in case of second and third criteria, only it is available for resident individuals. Resident individuals. You can observe both the points. Wherever it is senior citizen and super senior citizen. So please be very careful there. So in this scenario, the basic exemption limit would be 2 lakh 50,000. You can underline that. 2 lakh 50,000. So up to 2 lakh 50,000, nil. So amount is also nil. Then 2 lakh 50 to 5 lakh. That is 5 lakh minus 2.5 lakh, which comes to 2.5 lakh into 5%. The amount comes to 12,500. That is the difference. 5 lakh minus 2.5 lakh it is. Minus 2.5. This is L, that is lakhs. Don't get confused. Next, from 5 lakh to 10 lakh, it is, sorry, why did I write nil here? 5% it is. Sorry, 5%. Then your 20%. More than 5 lakh up to 10 lakh, it is 20%. So find out the difference. 10 lakh minus 5 lakh, which comes to 5 lakh into 20%. 5 lakh into 20%, which comes to 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh rupees. Fine. Then more than 10 lakh, what is the tax rate? 30%. The other slab rates remain same, guys. It will not change. Only basic exemption limit will be 2 lakh 50 here. So your income is 10.3 lakh or 10 lakh 30,000 minus 10 lakh. You will get 30,000 into 30%. Into 30%. 9,000. 9,000. So 1 lakh 21,500 is your gross tax liability. We call this as gross tax liability, guys. You can just make a note of that also. You can just write it in. Gross tax liability is 121,500. So is this assessee eligible for rebate? No, sir. He is not eligible for rebate. So next, as is having the tax liability, we have to add 4% health and education cess. This is 4%. How much is that? 4860. So the final figures comes to 1,26,360. So this is the amount which he has to pay in this scenario, guys. Take down quickly. So if any of you are having any doubt, please do ask, especially the students from executive entrance test background and all. Hope you guys are understanding the calculations. Please do take down, guys. Don't think that I know everything. You would have understood now, but later you have to study, you have to revise. During that time, the answer should be in front of your eyes. You cannot sit and work then. You will not be having that sufficient time when you guys are studying and revising later. next 2 or 3 or 4 months down the line. So please do take it seriously and take down each and everything whatever is done in the class. And I am trying to cover the questions on different scenarios, not on the same topic again and again. So I am making changes from question to question so that you will be thorough with the concepts. Done with this? Yes, sir. Now, one more last part, guys. We'll just finish this and close the class. The assessee is the resident, but age is 85 years. He is a resident, but age is 85 years. What is the basic essential limit now? Come on, quickly. Come on, guys. What is the basic essential limit? Good. Nishchay, Trisha Line, Sweetie, then Nitya, Geeta Lakshmi, Neha Sharma, Bhuvaneshwari, Gunjan. Very good. Everyone is telling 5 lakh. Yes, it is 5 lakh. Okay, it is 5 lakh. Sir, what if he is a non-resident? What is the basic essential limit? 85 years, but non-resident. So how much it will be? 2.5 lakh. 2.5 lakh. So if the individual is a non-resident, the extended basic essential limit benefit will not be applicable for him. It will always be 2.5 lakh. Same way for HUF, OOP, BOI, artificial juridical person also, it is always 2 lakh 50, irrespective of any other point. Even sometimes in the exam, they may confuse you by giving HUF, which is in existence in last 80 years, 70 years. They have a total income of so and so. Calculate the tax liability. You have to take the basic essential limit as 2 lakh 50. Even for AOP, BOI, and artificial juridical person, it is always 2 lakh 50, guys. It is always 2 lakh 50. Please take care of it. Chalo, we'll quickly do this. Will not take much time. So up to 5 lakh, you can underline that so that you are trying to understand what is the difference from one scenario to another scenario. Please underline that basic essential limit part. So up to 5 lakh, nil, no tax. We call it as basic exemption limit. Basic exemption limit. Then more than 5 lakh to 10 lakh. What is the tax rate? Not 5%. That slab itself is not applicable for this assessee. Straight away 20%. Please be careful. I see students committing mistake here, guys. Here they will try to take 5% by miss. They will know actually when they would have studied. But in an urgency while doing the problem, they may take 5% here. Please be careful here. Yeah, that slab itself is not applicable for him because up to 5 lakh it is exempt, nah? Or it is not taxable. Okay. So here 10 lakh minus 5 lakh into 20%. 1 lakh. Okay. Next, more than 10 lakh, tax rate is 30%. So 10 lakh 30,000 minus 10 lakh, which you will get 30,000 into 30%, which comes to 9,000. So your gross tax liability is 1 lakh 9,000. 1 lakh 9,000. Then is rebate available? No, sir. Rebate is not available. So health and education says 1 lakh 9,000 into 4%. Whenever a person is liable to pay tax, health and education says always at 4% of what? Tax amount, not the income amount. Please be careful with that. So how much is this? 4360. 4360. So the final figure is 1,13,360. So in the last scenario, the assessee is liable to pay a tax of 1,13,360 to the government. Sushma, what is that figure? What you got? Please cross check that. How? Education cess has to be added, madam. Only rebate has to be deducted. So please take care of small things like this, because when you guys are in urgent, you may do small mistakes like this, calculation errors. So that is why practicing the things is very important. Clear, guys? So hope everyone are done. We'll stop it here. Please do go through whatever has been done in the class, guys. Tomorrow we'll continue from here. We have some more things with respect to same chapter. We will cover it. But please make sure that you will go through whatever is done in the class, guys. So bye for today. Good night. Take care. Enjoy, guys.